Veganuary vegan? Hi there guys, Coach here at ComplEat.com. This is the Veganuary podcast where every couple days in January we come in with a new topic about veganism and help you transitioning into a plant-based or vegan diet. We go from environmental to ethical to obviously health related aspects of veganism. And I'm a sports nutritionist, and Sarah is more on the environmental and the ethical science helps us dig more deeper into veganism. So last time we were talking about being vegan in Brighton, or places where it's easier to get veganized or vegan substitute for from traditional meals. So like replacement products and anything which is make it easier to transition to vegan diet. And today we're gonna talk about veganizing dishes, which is using plants and at home and then pretend it's the original version of the recipe. So just you get a traditional, let's say stuffed cabbage or something like a traditional meat-based recipe, and then you turn it into a vegan version, hoping that it's gonna taste the same as the original recipe. So a little bit of behind the scenes. We already recorded this once, but my microphone just cut out. So we had a good conversation. Hopefully we can replicate it again. Hopefully it's gonna be better than the first one. You'll never know. But so what I was saying is that for some people who afraid of being vegan because it feels like he's not gonna get the same meals which is like used to, then this could be a help for transitioning. Yeah. So
or as I said, to make a little bit of envy to your non-vegan friends when you want to just show them that it's also possible to remind that nice cozy feeling not only on your belly but on your soul as well, of eating a certain dish that for some reason reminds you of your childhood or your mom's food, grandmother or grandfather, whatever. So like Christmas,
usually we do like Christmas, which is more traditional meals coming up on Christmas time, or Easter. We were saying that we trying to replicate that feeling where you've been being kid and then having those meals available, even if you're vegan or with your family who is not vegan. This could be a good help for those people who surround you, and then maybe you can help them or be nice or veganize a dish for them,
including them in your
And we are talking about like it's easier to veganize snacks and desserts rather than like actual meat recipes, because it's easier to replicate the eggs and the dairy, because nowadays like dairy is super easy to replicate by vegan oat milk and almond and soy. There's a lot of
and even eggs. You have a lot of good quality egg replacement. But even the other day I was doing a Christmas dessert and I didn't buy egg replacement. I just used flaxseed and water and you put it in the fridge for a while, and it does like gains that consistency of the outer part of the egg, which basically you just need the egg to glue the ingredients.
Yeah, usually they use eggs not for the taste but to hold the ingredients together, and it's super easy to replicate. So you can pretty much do I think whatever we tried, it doesn't matter how traditional it was, we could have like replicated very
my friends were a bit surprised when I shared the photo of my Easter Easter dessert. We call it fular da Páscoa. So good. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That we took it to your, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And you wouldn't say it's not vegan or vegan. Those are easier. What's harder is to something it's meat based, like stuffed cabbage we have in Hungary, which you have like minced meat. You make like minced meat balls basically, and you wrap it around in cabbage, and you just cook them together. So that's something which is harder to replicate. We used like soy, fake meat product, and you try to put both like falling apart, so you have to find a consistency, so you have to obviously practice and adjust the recipes, but yeah, you can replicate it pretty good nowadays. I don't think any.
Or you can go the other way and just do a whole fresh vegan version of it, and we used mushrooms, which have a very nice texture. They're kind of meaty texture as cuisine people call it, which just means it's dense and nice and juicy, and they just mix a bit of veggies on there. It was quite nice.
Yeah,
different than the original, but very good.
Yeah, we did with quinoa as well. So the the other substitute is include or like upgrade the recipe from being meat based to vegan, and maybe not having the same taste as it would be the original recipe. You just change the ingredient and change the flavor of the dish. Still gonna be good, but you don't have to expect like, okay, I want to eat this, what I used to eat with meat, and it has to be exactly the same, because this is like a wrong argument I always hear, that these products are not good because it's not resemble meat, or dish is never gonna be as good as the original version.
It doesn't taste the same.
Doesn't taste the same. Yeah. So, and they shouldn't. Like, I think there are meat products where, like Beyond Meat, we're talking about in another episode, and Impossible Food, and these products, it's made to resemble to the original meat. But veganizing dishes, or just the vegan cuisine is itself, it shouldn't resemble meat. It's not meat. What you're cooking vegetables, and it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah.
So you just should accept there's gonna be a different meal, it's gonna be a different dish. It doesn't have to be the same, and it's just a different cuisine. So you have to. What I suggest is just to learn this new way of cooking and try to embrace that this is a different cuisine.
Yeah, we are a bit on the same page on this. We think it doesn't mean that we will never do it. As we said, on Christmas and special occasions, we do a bit of a more playful sort of thing, trying to simulate traditional dishes and whatnot. But we prefer most of the time just look at the veggies and think, what can I do with this to have a nice nutrition? And both of us are quite busy. We like to cook very simple things, and so we don't complicate it too much. And with a nice vegan diet, you eat a lot of whole foods and a lot of variety. So no matter what you're doing, the simplest thing is always going to have a lot of flavor, because you're going to have a lot of things mixed. We usually use at least like 5 different veggies, and then you add the protein, or something like 4 or 5 veggies, and then the protein might be beans or tofu or something of that kind, and and then obviously the potato or the rice or whatever. So and if we are in a rush, there's something that I do with vegetables that we could never do with meat, which is just eat it raw. Yeah. Just pick up a bunch of veggies, like different types of peppers. What else? Tomato, carrot, pepper, cucumber.
Pickles if you have.
Yeah, sometimes we mix apple or some sort of.
Then we add some tofu, and then it's super low in calorie. It's something you good to have as a snack, or just before bed. We usually eat it in a bed, because it's never gonna make you feel heavy, but it fills you up. So you're not gonna feel hungry, because it's full of water, and in the same time you get the minerals and vitamins and everything you need. But it's super low in calories. So if you're diet, it's a good way to keep your calories low but still feel full, because they are like veggies are full with water. When you cook, they release the water, and unless it's a soup, you're never gonna get it back. But if you eat it raw, you get all the water with it.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to keep your belly full.
Yeah. Oh, and you were talking about something that I thought it was very interesting, and I felt that along the years, which is your palate sort of develops because when you're eating meat, you have like this, either you use oil to fry it and a lot of salt, or you use a lot of spices to give it some nice flavor, because the meat itself is going to be like meat and blood. It doesn't have a taste that is particularly nice. So you put spices on it, you put salt, you fry it in oil and whatsoever. And so when you stop doing it, your palate becomes a bit more sensitive to softer flavors, I would say, more subtle flavors. So now every time I eat a plate of vegetables, I find it flavorful, because, and probably, a few years ago, I would, the meat with all that spices and the oil and would just overpower everything else. And now I don't have to. I can sometimes, if I feel like being fancy, I still will do like roasts and stuff, and use a lot of spices and however, I don't have that much time every day, so I just eat very simple, because I like it and I truly enjoy it. I truly find it very flavorful, because I just got used to it.
What I was saying is, like, you don't like the meat for itself, the raw meat, because it doesn't taste any good. You like the flavoring, you like the marinated meat, you like the seasonings and the roasting, and that's where it gives a good flavor. But you can do the same with vegetables, first of all, and second is, like, herbs and flavors are plants, so that's what it gives a really good taste for the meat as well. And when you starting to implement more and more plants into your diet, your palate just opens up, and you're gonna start feeling more and more flavor. And you people often forget the flavor of the raw vegetables and the fruits, because we just eat less and less, and we just replace everything with meat, eating meat 3, 4, 5 times a day rather than once a week like we used to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we had like meat once a week, like every Sunday, and there was something special.
Yeah.
And then during the week we had beans and lentils stews and simple food, which is like easy to cook. And obviously it was expensive as well. It wasn't like really easy to buy meat. It was something much more expensive than vegetables and grains, bread and things like that. And but now it's flipped. So everything is meat first. It has to be a big portion of meat on the plate, and whatever comes aside with it, fries or potatoes, rice, something.
It's mass produced now, so it becomes, in the West at least,
it's like so over flavored as well, with barbecue sauce and everything. Like, you don't even enjoy flavors anymore unless it's like super high. So it's like, if you eat everything super salty or super sugary, then your palate's you get used to that high sugar intake and high salt intake. And if you just don't salt something, or just barely salt the food, you're gonna feel like, oh, it's tasteless. Yeah. But that's how food tastes. You just over salt it most of the time. So once you start skipping salt, sugary stuff, or these high flavor sauces, then your palate is adjusting back, and give it to like 2-3 weeks. Once your palate adjusting back to normal salt intake, sugar, sauce, everything, things like that, then it starts to feel the real flavor of the fruits and vegetables, and it's just much more enjoyable than this. And then you just salted something a little bit, it's gonna feel like super salty.
Yeah.
And the same amount of salt which you used before is gonna feel like uneatable.
Yeah.
And
because then you feel more salt than the flavor of the food itself. Salt should be used only up to the measure that it brings out the flavor of the ingredient that you're salting, not cover it up.
Exactly.
If you feel very thirsty after your meals, then probably you're using a lot of salt, for example.
Yeah. I think the measure for the health salt intake is like 6 grams, which is like
per meal?
per day.
Per day.
Yeah, which is like a thumb in your palm. That's all the salt that you can have a day. Imagine how much salt you have a day, like usually like way more. So yeah, I think your palate's gonna open up if you switch to plant-based and trying new dishes and reduce your salt intake, because these sauces which you're using for meat are usually very salty, or even sugary nowadays. Just think about ketchup or mayo and stuff like that.
Yeah. They have sugar as well.
Yeah, they put a lot of sugar in it. So, and obviously, if you drink like fizzy drinks, etc., your palate is just numb. You need such a high intake to feel anything, and if you just eat a carrot or something, it's gonna feel like dull and tasteless. Yeah. But it has taste. You just don't feel it anymore. And I think if you start cooking, and there's nothing wrong with veganizing dishes. I think it's just overvalued. Like these people always want to veganize everything rather than showing how good to be plant-based, or how good you can cook, how good food you can cook plant-based, rather than trying to replicate meat.
Yeah, I think it's either one of two reasons. One, when people started becoming plant-based and they want to still eat those same traditional dishes that they are used to because that's what they know. And on the other hand, maybe those are people who are trying to show other people that it's still possible to have that sort of comfort food feeling. The grandma's roast, Sunday roast sort of thing, which is, I just prefer not to go to all that trouble all the time. And I find it easier to cook. I find it easier to have healthier food as well. So we just opt by just grabbing the whole foods, as less package as possible, and yeah, that's it. And just cook the stuff and enjoy it. Yeah.
What's your favorite veganized meal that you use?
So I really love chocolate. So vegan chocolate is definitely a plus. Vegan milk chocolate. The other day I ate vegan white chocolate, which is basically almost no chocolate at all, actually. But it's so good. So just now and then, a little treat. And if I am feeling like having one of those savory pastries, sort of traditional, in Portugal we used to eat a lot of samosas, like spicy one with that. It's like I think it's minced meat inside. So some places do that in vegan version. So obviously they replicate vegan meat. They use vegan meat. They don't use like a whole food, like sort of cabbage. No, they produce this, I don't know, probably from soy or seitan or something like that. And then they spice it up a lot. That sort of thing. Yeah. And sometimes, for example, on Christmas, a couple of years ago, we've done the Hungarian stuffed cabbage. Last year, done the codfish, Portuguese vegan codfish roast for Christmas. But I used vegan fish fillet. I couldn't find the ones I wanted, but still it was pretty nice. It was good.
Yeah, you adjusted a little bit.
Yeah, I put a bit more veggies than we use in the original recipe, just to make it a bit more substantial. Yeah. But yeah, it was really nice. I really liked it. Yeah.
Okay.
And you? Do you have a favorite one?
I think it's good that they can do like bakery, like. I'm on a diet anyway. Yeah, I'm usually on a diet anyway. But here and there, I really like bakery stuff, like
chocolate.
The bakery more like breads and scones and croissant, things like that. But I don't eat much because I get really fat really easy. So, but when I do, I really like scones and croissant and something like those sweet breads or whatever we call it.
Croissant is also one of my favorites. Yeah.
So it's good to have those in the cafe shops, etc.
With a very nice coffee, vegan latte.
Okay, Yeah, vegan coffee, it's very good, like oat milk. Okay, that was it, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next episode soon, probably tomorrow. Drink complete.